Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. Dave, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do. 41 at last count.
Okay, we have, before the president's report, we'll have an election, right? Felix? You want to take over since Felix is the chairman of the election committee? Felix?
Good morning. My name is Felix Badish. I'm the chair of the election committee. This morning, we are scheduled to have an election for 3 open positions on the M&O committee.
Okay, let's keep it quiet.
The 3 candidates are Dave Fisher, Lynn Roberts, and Stanley Siegel are unopposed. I'm asking Alan Perman, recording secretary, to cast his 1 vote for the 3 candidates. They will each serve a term ending March 25th. Thank you.
The term ends March of 2025.
March ending March 2025.
The vote is officially cast. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Felix. Great job. Appreciate it. Okay, we have the minutes.
The minutes of the February delegates meeting appear in the Cobrua report. Is there anyone who found any additions, corrections, or omissions from those printed minutes? Is there any objection to approving the minutes as published in the Cobrua report? Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, President's report. We just really have nothing really going on at this time.
I don't think it's fucking wrong.
Dave Fisher wanted to say something. Dave, you want to say something?
Good morning. I'm Dave Fisher, your Sergeant at Arms. I want to make a brief statement regarding the February Cobrua meeting. During good welfare, when the residents had a chance to speak, Fred Hodgman went over his 2 minutes and I asked him for the microphone. He turned and walked away from me. I passively attempted to take the microphone from him. When I returned home, 2 Palm Beach County sheriffs knocked on my door and asked if I knew Fred Hadley. I said I did, and they asked if they could come in and speak to me because Fred filed a police report against me for assault. I felt this should be noted in the minutes. Thank you. And I'm not accepting any questions. No answers.
All right. We got the Lynn Treasurer's report.
Mr. Chairman, personal privilege?
Yes. Two minutes, Fred. That's okay. He made an accurate. He made a report. He can. I'll let him answer it now. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. All right, come on, fellas. Come on. Give him the. Come on, let's go. Come on, Fred. 2 minutes.
I don't want him standing next to me. This is intimidation, Mr. Chairman.
Come on, Fred. Come on. Fred, I'm giving you the opportunity to talk. Here, take this mic.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me this opportunity to respond. Yes, I did call the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. I am a person of 65 years and older, 74 in fact, I'll be 75 in a few months. And I don't think anybody in Century Village, especially not a person over 65, should be handled or manhandled or a battery committed upon my person just for speaking.
That's right.
You're one that heard.
Dave Fisher is under criminal investigation for the felony crime of battery against a person over 65. If you are not happy with that definition, take it up with Sheriff Rick Bradshaw. As it stands right now, he is an accused felon. And anybody touches anybody in Palm Beach County without their permission that's over 65. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
You were not hurt.
Remove her from the room like you threatened to remove me from the room. This is not fair. This is not equal.
You were not hurt.
Nobody is allowed to be touched in Florida. This is a senior-friendly state. If you touch a senior, you commit a felony. Dave is someone who touched a senior. I have charged him with a felony. It is under active investigation. I would like the chairman to instruct the sergeant-at-arms that he's not to touch anybody in this room. If there's some problem that requires an emergency, let the police be called and let them do the touching. It's not the sergeant-at-arms. He's not a trained law enforcement person. Thank you very much.
You gotta be kidding.
Okay.
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 Good morning. Our checking account balance is $17,893. Our CD is $37,237 for a total of $55,130. Our last month's balance was $51,332. Any questions? I wish everybody a good holiday and anybody going back north a safe trip. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Okay, security report. We have security here? I don't see it.
There are security.
I don't see it. Okay. Let's go. Sid, you want to do the Cobrua report?
Thank you, Mike. Actually, there's no report today. There's been no activity since Peter Sachs was here and spoke to you the beginning of February. So if there's any question, I'll take it. Otherwise, I'll pass the mic. Thank you.
Good. I have one question. I brought it up at the exec board meeting. I think that when the lawyer meets with maybe someone from your committee should be there, sitting there representing us also.
Thank you, Mike. I have that on my agenda. Peter Sachs has been away for a month, and it will be addressed.
Thank you very much. Okay, Stanley, you want to go community affairs?
I'm going to do the budget first. This is the time of year where we come up with the proposed budget for the new year, starting April of 2023 and ending March 31st, 2024. Last year, it was a little disappointing from a revenue standpoint. 2022 was an election year, and normally we get additional advertising from the people running for election. It didn't really happen, so we kind of fell short. So in preparing the budget for the new year, I took into account that the revenue would be less. Maggie, who's the administrator for Cobrua, has been doing additional work, so we helped cut down on the printing expenses. We had a surplus. We had some money come in to offset some of the rent. So I came up with a budget that is coming up with a smaller deficit compared to last year of only $2,000 and change. Hopefully we can meet our budget for the coming year. Any questions?
Okay.
Do I hear a motion to accept the budget?
Got a motion and a second? All in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Stanley. Appreciate it. Okay, security still not here?
No.
Okay.
You want me to call?
Stan, you want to go into the ML? Because that's...
Okay, good morning again. The committee met with management February 14th. Present for management with Judy Milligan, the VP, and site administrator, Monica Wells, Chief Financial Officer, Abby Koffler, Entertainment, Dan Cruz, Regional Facilities Manager. 6 members of the committee were present at that meeting. here are some of the highlights. Effective July of 2023, the Palm Beach Water Commission will be taking over the responsibility of the 12-inch water lines going in around the village. This feeds into the 8-inch lines, which feeds into the 4-inch lines, which feeds into the association. So it'll be their responsibility to take care of the maintenance and so forth, which makes it easier for us. There's going to be an electrical inspection scheduled for May to check on the wiring of the water cooling towers, which has been causing some problems. We're going to be reviewing an engineer's report regarding the use of bicycles in the bus lanes, and this we hope can be finally, come up with solutions for this problem. We reviewed Academy's ridership survey, and it was sort of a jigsaw puzzle, so we asked them to redo it and make it a little simplified. January collections for delinquent accounts came out to about $45,500, most of which would go back into the Treasury for us. The security contract was extended for 2 years beyond the current date of October 31st, 2023. Based on the wage scales in the various vicinities and the key factor that we have low turnover. See, our security men only work in this complex. They don't have to be transferred to other complexes. So,
okay, you must be selling real estate someplace.
all right, so we felt that it was felt that we had to keep up with all the other security companies, and eventually the minimum wage will be $15 in 2025. We increased the contract and we made some adjustments to the salary scale. Issuance of ID cards will be relaxed. The county has approved outside ambulance service by Hatzola. That's the Israeli group that has, that's the group from New York that provides ambulance service. We are seeking more clarification on how this will work. Amazon Prime has asked for a possible drop-off area for packages. Space and personnel is an issue in maintaining such a plan, and we haven't denied the request. We've been forewarned that insurance will be increasing again. Few carriers are offering wind coverage, appraisals are getting stricter, and windstorm deductibles will be increasing, or doubling, I should say. This, I'm talking about Century Village, and this eventually is going to happen with the associations, where the insurance is going to be increasing again. For the next season, show prices will remain the same, except for a few increases, performance increasing their prices. We have a nice variety of shows planned for the coming year. The canopy in front of the clubhouse is part of the current budget. We are getting quotes for the automatic door for the rear entrance. Hopefully all of this will be completed by the end of this fiscal year, which ends October. Any questions regarding the report?
Okay, he'll be right with you. He's coming.
You spoke about bicycles in the bus lanes. Is that also going to apply to motorbikes?
No, motorbikes is going to be taken up as another issue also. They should really be in the car lanes. But we're waiting for the report to come through so we can come up with a decision.
And also, is that going to affect the legal limits? Like we have 20-mile-an-hour limits now. Is that going to apply also?
To what?
To how fast a motorbike can go.
If the cars are asked to go 20 miles and they go 40, we're going to ask the motorbikes to go 20 also,
Okay,
and
thank
not
you.
exceed it. But if you're not looking, they're going to exceed it.
Okay.
Yeah, Mitch Schaefer, Brighton. Unfortunately, I do not agree with the statement that the motorbikes should be in the car lanes. These are unregistered vehicles. This is an accident waiting to happen, and it's going to be hellacious for insurance problems. I already saw a young guy visiting here riding a motorized scooter, like a skateboard with a handlebar, in the car lanes, driving along. This is an accident waiting to happen. They should not be allowed to be where the cars are riding. They're unregistered, they have no insurance, major problem.
This has not been finalized. It's only in the talking stage, so we'll see what happens.
My point should be, I think when you have more discussion, that should be brought up at the meeting.
We have not overlooked that part.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Sam? Yes, right here.
Hi, Susan Melser from Ainsley. You didn't broach this time around, but there's supposed to be some kind of a survey for EVs in Century Village.
For what?
Electric vehicles.
It wasn't in my report.
Okay, but it should have been because it was
Why should it
supposed
be in
to.
my report if it
Because
wasn't
it's
brought up?
supposed to occur.
Wait a minute. If it's, I'm only referring to what happened at the meeting. Electric vehicles, in my previous report, I said we're going to have a survey, I think in April.
Is it still on track?
It's still on track.
Okay, thanks.
But so therefore, the questions I'm accepting now apply to my report only. Any other questions?
Did she have a hand up?
I'm Vicki Elmer at Brighton, and I have a front row view of the bus lane.
Dave.
And I've noticed a lot of cars driving down the bus
Wait a
lane.
minute, Dave, you're blocking, I can't hear it.
I have a front row view of Century Village Boulevard, so I constantly see speeders and honkers and accidents a lot. But I've also noticed a lot of cars taking the bus lane from around Cornwall, that area, towards the clubhouse. So I just wonder, are those roads marked clearly? And at night, would there be maybe some reflectors to keep people from going?
Well, the roads are marked clearly, there are signs, and a lot of times people just don't pay attention. I know when I'm riding in the regular lane and I see someone in the bus lane or in the wrong lane, I'll beat them and eventually they'll go into the right lane.
Yes.
But they don't look.
It's tough to keep
That's
it
the
all
sad part of it.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I saw security was busy. They just walked in. You want to give the security report, please? Thank you.
Good morning. Sorry for being late. My name is Jody, representing United Security, and this is the monthly report for February. For miles patrol, we had 3,532. Pre-authorized calls, 3,560. Contractors, 3,462. And food delivery was 2,614. Any questions?
Okay, we got a question in the back, Dave.
Sharon Sachs Rexford. It has been brought to my attention that there are people being left in by the gate using dead persons' names. How can we alleviate this situation?
I never received any information on that, but if they're the check IDs, so if it doesn't match the ID, they don't get insurance.
They were only asked for their driver's license. They mentioned the name that they were going to a dead person's apartment.
I'm not sure why that happened, but I can look into that.
Appreciate that.
No problem.
Any other questions?
Good morning, all. My name is Alan Fanshaw. This is not a question, this is more a compliment. There was someone parked in someone else's space, and within a suspicious character, within 10 minutes, you guys were there, so I compliment you on your work.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I want to remind you, when an incident happens that you think is not right, you should report it right away. You shouldn't wait for the Cobrua meeting to report it. If something happens that's reported to you that day, you come right in and go to Sherry, and she will call security, and they will take a report, and they can check the tapes and everything of the people coming in that day. So remember, report it the day that it happens. 2 weeks later, it doesn't help. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, anything other old business?
At the last meeting, we had a discussion about dogs at the pool. A slight correction. I thought that dogs, and we're talking about service animals only, and we'll keep it to dogs, because that's mostly what comes out, with the people. They do not have to be on leashes, for the simple reason that if the individual is going to move around at the pool, the dog should follow them in the event something happens. And that I checked with legal, and that was the answer. Also, a question came up about dogs being on chairs. The individual should either put a towel down or a covering and then have the animal sit on the chair. The animal should not be there without a cover. And that's just to bring you up to date on the dog situation.
Okay, we have 2 questions. He'll get to you. Dave will get to you.
County Mansfield, on the dog situation, I was told by a resident, the person was in the pool with their dog, and no one at the pool said a word.
Well, the dog is allowed to go anywhere that the individual goes, but not in the pool. So therefore, somebody should call security.
Well, I told Jody after the fact, because I wasn't there to see it.
Well, did you get the name of the person whose dog?
Nobody wanted to say anything. But I'm just making it a point that somebody brings the dog into the pool.
Well, the same thing. If something happens and nobody wants to press charges, nothing happens. The sheriff will tell you that.
That I know.
Dave, we have 2 more. We have one in the back, and we just have this lady in front.
It's me again. So I was originally informed that dogs had to be on leashes that were not retractable. So how does this fit into dogs not even being on leashes? I'm really confused about this.
The reason the dog does not have to be on a leash is if the person decides to move around the pool, the dog has to follow that person, and if God forbid anything happens, then the dog goes into action.
Are we only talking about Said West Pools, or we're talking about the association grounds?
I'm only talking about West Pools.
So that law does not apply to each association. So therefore in Rexford, when I was told that they have to be on leashes that are not retractable, that still holds.
My suggestion is speak to the attorney that you have for Rexford.
Thank you.
Up here, Dave, two people. We have the gentleman and then we have this woman here. It's right behind him.
Larry Krakauer, Exeter. Yeah, at the last meeting, there was a whole discussion about companion dogs and service dogs. So would this apply to companion dogs also? Because I believe
Companion dogs are not supposed to be at the pool. The only animal, and again I'm talking basically dogs, are service animals. Emotional support or companions are not allowed at the pool. So if you see them there and you know it, call security. You're very limited in what you can ask. You know, it's a very touchy situation, but if you know for sure it's a companion dog, call security.
I thought that it was said that you can't really check or report someone because there's some kind of flaw in the law that says you can't do anything about it if it's a companion dog.
Not familiar with that. All I know is the rule that service animals are allowed and companions are not.
Wait.
She's got to wear a vest.
Yes, miss.
Is there a direct number for
Identify
security
yourself, miss.
of Vicky Elmer, Brighton? Is there a direct number for the security phone other than the one at the pool? Because I don't want to be a target if I see something going wrong, and then everybody will know that I was the one that called.
My only suggestion is you call the front desk and ask them to switch you to security.
Okay, thank you.
Dave, we have someone in the back.
I guess I unleashed a lot of questions.
Hi, Susan Lutzman, Preston. How do you know the difference between a service and a companion? Because if you ask them, they'll either give you a dirty look or they'll say none of your damn business. So what do you do in a case such as if you're seen by the pool?
In checking with our attorney, it's a very touchy situation. You ask the person, if they lie, you can't do anything about it.
So therefore, dogs have more rights than people. I mean, I'm a dog lover, but I see people walking these dogs, they look like bulls. Really big dogs. Most of them are on leashes, but unfortunately, if they get off the leash, there's going to be a ton of lawsuits here. I wanted to know, people could be very rude and stick up for their animals faster than they can care about you. So I was just curious.
It's a very touchy situation. Mike and I have been for years talking to our congresspeople, our representatives, and they wouldn't touch the issue with a 10-foot pole.
Al, did you want to say something?
Yes, good morning. My name is Alan Fanchel. It is a touchy situation. It's the American Disabilities Act is what you're dealing with. And if you want to inquire about it, that's what you would contact. A service animal is not necessarily a dog. It's considered a wheelchair.
Yeah, that's why I qualified what I said.
I understand. So I don't know if you can approach someone. You would have to call the American Disability Act and confirm it with them. I'm not even sure that they can be loose without a leash. They should be on the leash, but that's not something
I was under the impression that they had to be leashed, but the answer is no.
The answer is I don't know, but if you wanted to find out.
I checked it with the legal.
Well, the legal is not necessarily an American Disability Act. It is video for them.
I was an accountant, not the legal.
No.
personnel.
As I understand, unless they specialize in for the restaurant or whatever, you would have to be specific as to what you're asking for that. But it's a very touchy situation. I don't know if you can ask, but I think they're emotional kind of not. They have certain civil rights, so be careful when you run and walk out.
Any other questions about dogs? You know, service animals don't, I mean, I'm not getting into this, but the animals don't have to be dogs. They could be anything. As long as they make the person who owns that animal. Yeah.
Emotional support animals, comfort animals, could be anything, just as Mike said. But service animals must be dogs and they must be certified. So there's a big difference there.
But we're never going to straighten this out. Stanley and I went with a congressperson, I won't tell you who it is. And they said to us, if you think anybody in Congress is going to touch this, you're crazy. They said, no one in Congress, I don't care what their political affiliation is going to stand up and say, we're against service animals or any kind of animals at all. And that's where we stand. And one of our associations, who we all know, got fined. And they had to go to retraining. So, you know, it's very touchy when you're dealing with disabled. In Cornwall, we wanted to do something, and they said, okay, let's check with see how the disabled can do it, and it costs us a lot of money if we're going to do it. We thought it would cost us nothing. It quadrupled the cost. Okay, anything else on the report? Old business, Sandy, that was it. I have something on the old business. All the cable contracts are signed by associations. Whether you're going with Hotwire or Comcast, it doesn't matter. We all have Comcast till the end of the year. So there are problems sometimes with Comcast. You don't know who to go to. You go to Stanley Siegel. Stanley Siegel will be the person who will contact Comcast, because Comcast is still, regardless of who you signed with, is still your cable or television, internet provider until January. January changes. January 1st, the ones who signed with Hotwire will have Hotwire. The ones who signed with Comcast will have Comcast. But until then, we still have Comcast. So if you have a problem, Stanley's the guy to go to. Okay. Anything on the new business? Yes, you have something. Wait, just a minute. Mitch had something. Two people, and back there too. Okay.
Yes, Stanley, if you know, I spoke to Raphael from Comcast a number of times. This is a problem that is only for 3-story buildings. When the contractor takes the wall out that separates the kitchen from the living area, many times the cable wire is cut. I have sent 6 different texts to Raphael asking for the people to contact, for the service people, for whomever they want, and the emails, etc. He's not responding. Now, I like Raphael, very nice guy, but he's not doing the job. And I need to have the information. But this is only for 3-story residents. This has nothing to do with the other associations.
Okay, well, we're planning on having a meeting only for 3 stories, and I'll have the representatives from Comcast there to go through and explain exactly what has to be. See, the biggest problem is people do work without getting the approval of the association, 100%. And that's the killer.
That happens all the time.
So
we just need somebody. We need to know the people.
I'm going to organize and have a meeting just for the 3 stories.
That's because, as I mentioned to you, one of the Comcast representatives, and I don't know who it was, said to the owner to contact the contractor who works here in Century Village to take care of that. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
That was ridiculous. That was not the answer. So
thank you.
We'll resolve everything at the meeting and explain what has to be done.
Thank you.
The key to this whole thing is to know where construction is being held, right, so Comcast can come there and tell the people, be careful where the wire, or this is where the wire is. So
unfortunately,
we'll hopefully try and resolve that.
That's never going to happen.
Okay?
That's never going to happen. If we just, once we find out that there is the problem, we just need the proper people to contact. That would be great.
Okay.
We'll organize that meeting.
That'd be good. Thank you, thank you.
Okay. Sid had a hand up. You didn't see her. We have a gentleman back there.
I just have one comment, that you should all be aware that now that Comcast has signed the new contract with 11 associations, from this point on, we'll be operating under 2 separate Comcast contracts. The old contract is still in effect for the 5 associations that will be going with Hotwire, and the other 11 associations that have signed with Comcast will be under the new contract. So I don't know right now what the differences are. I can't explain them to you, but there are differences that will come up. And I just think you should all be aware of that. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
He's not a delegate.
What's he doing sitting there? Yes. Al.
My name's Hal Goldberg from Newcastle. To answer his question, we were told that all internal wires are the responsibility of the homeowner.
Yes.
Not of Comcast. I was mentioned that twice. And if they do come out, they're going to charge you $80.
Well, you know, Al, the people don't know. They see a cable wire, they don't have it, so they call Comcast. Yes, Richard.
We've had, Richard Dunn in Suffolk. We've had that problem in Suffolk. It's the responsibility of the person who buys the unit, and if somebody, for whatever reason, the wire is cut for doing alterations, it's the responsibility for them to get a contractor. It's not the responsibility of Comcast. So I don't know if Comcast, like the gentleman says, charges extra, or they have their contractor work with whoever to correct the problem. And we now tell everybody who purchases that they cannot cut the wires. Thank you.
The purpose is to educate the 3-story units that to tell the contractor or show them where the wiring is, and we will have somebody from Comcast explain it to them. The fact that the wiring inside belongs to the unit is another issue, but the thing is to educate the 3-story units on how the wiring goes. You know, Mitch?
If somebody's using a contract,
Mitch, she still got the floor. Go ahead. You got the floor, Richard. Rich, you got the floor.
if they're hiring a contractor, I wouldn't use one that wouldn't know the difference of a cable wire. The thing is, when they open it up, the wire's not cut immediately. They cut the wire and bury it because they don't want to have any involvement with it. When they cut the ceiling, the wire's in the wall.
Okay, did you want to say something, Mitch?
Yo, microphone.
Let's give you the mic.
What's wrong with these people?
Yeah, this was not the program that we discussed. I was on the cable committee, and sadly, you're well aware. There was a whole program that was set up that's called New Home Run Wiring. When the wire comes down from the attic and gets cut, there's a program for them to Comcast to make new wiring into the individual unit. There is no charge to have that done. That's separate wiring, home run wiring it's called. And that's in the new contract.
That's in the addendum to the new contract.
Right, but the new contract also includes the last year of the old contract. So that is taken care of. There is no charge to the resident to have that done, and Comcast is under the responsibility of the contract to do it. All I ask for is the proper names and email numbers, etc., to contact them when it gets done. It is their responsibility. It is no charge. This was negotiated in the cable committee, and that's what's done.
The whole thing is to educate the 3 stories to make sure that this doesn't happen, the wiring doesn't get cut.
Right.
Right, there's no charge.
There's no charge whatsoever. There is a charge to the resident, for instance, if they want to move a TV that's on one side of the living room and they decide they want it on the other side, and Comcast has to come and run new wiring for them, well, that's a charge.
That's another situation.
But this is not a charge to the resident in a 3-story building when a wall is cut from the living room to the kitchen and has to be rewired. There is no charge whatsoever.
This is what was overlooked in the previous contract, or the current one that, is now new. We're hoping to avoid these situations.
Okay, anything else on the old business? Okay, new business. Anybody having the new business? I have something. I've been in contact with the county about permits. Everybody doesn't know about permits, what's going on when we have permits. I've been in contact with the county. Can you hear me now? You can't hear me? Okay. I've been in contact with the county. We're going to have them come down and explain to all of the residents, not just the presidents, all of the residents, if they want to attend. We're setting up the meeting now. We're trying to get a date. And I'm trying to get the theater to hold it in case someone's interested. We'll tell the resident when they want stuff done, what the contractor needs permits for, and what they don't need permits for. Because a lot of people are getting, a lot of residents are getting work done without permits that is illegal, and the county's coming in and stopping it. We don't want that. But what does the resident know? The resident is an average person who says, okay, I believe the contractor. Contractor wants to save money on not getting permits. I say, oh, you don't need a permit for that. So the resident says, okay. We're going to set up a meeting where everyone who wants something done will know what the rules are. Anything else in the new business, anybody? Yes.
Larry Krakow from Exeter. Has there been any change regarding clubs bringing food into the clubhouse for different events?
What was that again, Larry? I'm sorry.
Has there been any change in clubs bringing food in to have events in the party room?
As long as you get the okay from the site administrator, you can have food in the
You mean you want to have a private party, Larry? You want to have a private party in the sacred room?
No, I'm talking about clubs.
Sure, clubs are allowed to have food, and they have to talk to Judy.
You have to get the approval from Judy.
Okay.
They've never had a problem. Of all the clubs that I know have never had a problem bringing food in.
Okay.
They set the rules up before.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
See Judy, she'll help you out.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? Yes, sir.
Michael from Exeter. I was missing anyway from the last meeting because I was up north for my grandson's first birthday party. I wanted to ask, thank you. Anyway, the thing is, since I was missing, I wanted to know about Cobrua. Actually, you guys are the group. I wanted to know about the synagogues. How many years lease do they have? What kind of rentals are they doing? Because I'm also an investor besides living here.
The synagogues are owned by the synagogue.
Sid?
Nothing to do with synagogue.
Hold on. Sid is chairman. She'll answer it for you.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question.
Is the synagogue paying any rent?
Is what?
Is the synagogue, or both synagogues, paying any form of rent? And how many years left do they have on their contract to be here?
I
Just want to know.
nothing at this
I'm an
point.
investor. I spend money, so I want to know.
It has at
Doesn't
this
matter.
point nothing to do with Cobra. Cobrua might have an answer, but certainly Cobra is only collecting monthly assessments from unit owners in the 16 associations who will be the ones who will be purchasing the clubhouse and rec facilities. The temples are not involved in the purchase or the acquisition to any extent. So again, I don't understand your question.
Stanley is, Stanley is the business manager for the temple. Maybe you can help me out with that.
I'll speak for Temple Beth Shalom only. There is no affiliation with Century Village. We own the property. It was ceded to us a number of years ago, and there's nothing we have to pay to Century Village. It's our property.
So it's your property, you pay your own real estate tax, right?
Yeah, we pay our own real estate. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I wanted to find out.
And I'm almost sure that that applies to Torah.
Any other questions? Good and welfare. Anybody have the good and welfare from the delegates? Good and welfare from the people who are not delegates, that are residents that are sitting out there. Yes? None? You have a question, miss? Just come up here. No. He will hold the mic for you. Okay. Which one's coming up, the blonde or the other one? Just walk up here, miss. He'll help you out. Just tell us who you are.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
Lori Lerna from Lincoln Beach. I actually have a few, but my big one is, have we done the assessments yet for the 2024 building codes that are required for Palm Beach County? Is this the right forum to ask?
What was that again?
Okay, you know the building that collapsed in Miami that now Palm Beach County has to bring
Yes, I'm familiar
code?
with that, yes.
Right. Has that assessment been considered yet in our budget for all the units?
That's an association question.
Okay.
We can't help you with that. You have to go to your association meeting and ask them what they're doing with this.
Okay, I have no clue when the association meetings are. I just see the meetings for Cobrua.
It's posted.
Right.
Posted on the bulletin board.
Don't they? Did you get an engineer's report or anything in your association?
I'm sorry?
Did you get an engineer's report?
No.
All these questions, association questions. Dave, take a look at the questions. Take a look at the questions and see if there's any that concerns us.
Okay, there's a security issue in Fanshore that is all over the Nextdoor app. I don't know if there's any delegate from Fanshore who can address that. And also, you mentioned something about Comcast. I don't know if Lincoln has signed with Comcast.
Yes.
Yes.
They have signed with Comcast. So as far as the assessments, I have to go to my director and find out if there are meetings just for Lincoln.
I would go to your next board meeting and ask those questions.
Okay, I'll try to find out because I don't know.
That's where I would go.
Can the Fanshore person please address the security issue that's blown up all over?
Here's the president of Fanshawe right here.
Oh, well, on Nextdoor, apparently there are, can someone else kindly address this?
I'm trying to talk about the spot stickers and...
Yeah, and the renters who were renting there, they're apparently criminals, they're attacking people. It's all over the Nextdoor app.
I don't know, I don't read next door. They only know what's going on in here.
You don't know about this? No, as the movement. Well, anyway, there's going to be a lot more going on with petitions, so more to come if no one else is going to speak first. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You have to come up here. If you're raising your hand, please come up here to the mic. Tell us who you are, miss.
Good morning. I'm Mona Lloyd. I live in Dorset. I'm president of our pickleball club, and I want to bring again to your attention that we have an ever-expanding club. We've doubled our membership, and we've had over 100 beginners attend our clinic. I'm begging, pleading, and asking when we can expect to see more clubs, more I have anything against our tennis players. I love them. But I just left the pickleball courts
don't like
about
their
a half
courts.
an hour ago, and we have a line waiting to play pickleball. And our tennis courts are not fully utilized.
Stanley, do you want to answer that question?
As I explained to you previously, this is coming up in the new budget for the next coming year. So we are well aware that you're looking for more courts. The tennis people told me what you want, and we told them to stick to tennis and not pickleball. So it's going to be taken up in the next budget.
When is the next budget, may I ask?
The next budget starts November 1st, but we have meetings starting maybe June or July.
Thank you.
Yes, Al.
Hello, my name is Hal Goldberg. I'm from Newcastle. To elaborate on what the pickleball president said, I'm coming up as a homeowner, and I'd like to propose that we get even temporary courts, since I hear that we're repaving or redoing some of the tennis courts, just to put lines down and get some temporary nets put up that can be rolled away when the tennis players like to play tennis, with a barrier so the balls don't go all the way to the other end of the court. It's a less costly effect, and it at least give us some relief on the pickleball courts, so we can play somewhere else. Thank you.
Yes, miss, just walk up. Tell us who you are.
Sam Early from Lincoln. My understanding with the last Comcast contract was the entire Century Village was supposed to be a hotspot. I went up to the woman upstairs who comes twice a week. Most of the time it doesn't work. It's not a hotspot. It's in, it's out, it's mostly out.
After the meeting, speak to Stan Siegel. It's the gentleman who's sitting at the end right here.
It's just, that's all it is. That's all I want to tell you.
Well, you have to tell me what unit, where, so I can get...
I walk every morning
See him after the meeting, tell me.
and it's mostly out. I can't tell you exactly where it's in and out because it changes, but it's mostly out.
Give me more details, so after the meeting, just come over.
The second thing is on the Florida legislative site, the service animal must be under the control of its handler, must have a harness leash or other tether unless either the handler is unable because of a disability to use a harness leash or other tether, or the use of a harness leash or other tether would interfere with the service animal's safe, effective performance of work or tasks, in which case the service animal must be otherwise under the handler's control by means of voice control, signals, or other effective means. When you see a little yapper dog running around the pool, it's not under anybody's control, and it's really annoying. And I'm worried it's going to dive into the pool, which would totally blow my mind, but that's where I'm at there. So it's on the legislative site. If you know a dog is leashed normally, it should be leashed in the pool. You should be able to call, security and tell them about it, because it's a leashed dog that's running around crazy. And I think that's the biggest annoyance. A service dog is a service dog, but they're not doing service when they're not under control.
Okay. Thank you very much for the information. I appreciate it. Yes, miss.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to start holding this up. Renee Rosenberg, Cornwall E, and I have several questions. One is Comcast, and I don't know who Stanley Shapiro is, because we've had intermittent service. Where's Stanley? Who do I speak to?
Stanley's right here.
Stanley, can you raise your hand?
Stanley.
Okay, that's who I go to see. Okay, because we've had intermittent service all week.
That's why.
All week, we've had service in and out, and we've tried to contact Comcast. My husband looked them up, he texted them, they said, no problems, it's working, and it's not working. So Stanley, I guess you're the one that has to look into that?
Yes, he's the one
If you give me all the details, I'll take care of it.
right after the meeting, see
I
Stan.
appreciate that.
Now, question. When you call Comcast, you should ask them for the Fort Myer or Jacksonville office. That's the dedicated office to take care of us.
Okay, fine, thank you, appreciate that. The other is about the pool, and can I raise a question about the pool here? Is that, yeah, what does that mean? I have 1 more minute, okay. There are people doing laps in the pool yesterday. Someone jumped in, said he wasn't diving, but he said he jumped and he kind of landed over there, not here, but, and he was doing laps, and so was someone else, and there was no room to be in the pool. And are laps legal in the small pools? That's one question. And
I don't know why they would be illegal unless you want to get into someone.
Well, it was pretty dangerous, I think, for people trying to jump out of the way. My other question is bicycles on the walk lane. Can people be required to have a horn, a whistle, or a bell on their bicycle?
We request them to do it, but it's up to them. There's really no law against it, but we ask them as a common courtesy to warn the people in front of them.
Very dangerous because there's lots of bikes on the walk lane.
That's why we're trying to get a bike lane in. Any other questions? Okay, have a motion to adjourn, and please tell us your name.
Whoa!
Wait, Mike.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, sir.
Alan Glickman, Suffolk. My question is, when are we going to stop the buses idling in front of the clubhouse, spewing poisonous carbon monoxide gas, and nothing is being done about it? Sometimes there are 6 to 8 buses running 5, 6, 7, 10 minutes there. It's death, silent, odorless death.
Stan?
All right, we'll take it up and discuss it again.
We'll take it. Sandy says he'll take it up at the Management Operations Committee meeting. Thank you. Yes, Fred.
Michael, we're supposed to be maintaining social distance. I don't want this guy standing right
Stand,
there.
stand,
Stand.
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 Stand, please. Please, Fred. All right, let him do it. Go.
Maybe I didn't get the memo, but I thought Stanley Siegel resigned as liaison with Comcast. Can you be up to date on that?
No.
Now I hear that he's the go-to.
Let me answer the question.
Yeah,
Ask the question, let me answer it.
Well, you don't usually answer the question, so I guess I'm...
The question is, he is not on the committee. He is the liaison between, now that everything's settled, he's the liaison.
I'm sorry, he's the liaison what?
He's the liaison with Comcast now that all the contracts have been settled.
Oh, so you reappointed him, is that correct?
Yes.
Well, let me explain something. The information you dispensed was totally incorrect. I never resigned. I withdrew because there was possibly a conflict of interest. So for the benefit of everyone involved, I just withdrew. I never resigned. And I never resigned in disgrace.
Well, I have a copy of a letter that was sent around by Mike Mangello that announced your resignation. So you better get your story straight.
Doesn't matter.
No, you should get your information straight as a blog man.
All right, you answer.
The information I got straight is that you bought
all right, Fred,
cable
you
contract.
answer the question. You got an answer.
As far as the scooters go, a statement was made that since the scooter's not licensed, they can't be on the road. I ride a bicycle. My bicycle's not licensed. Florida recognizes bicycles as vehicles, so you can't say that a scooter cannot be assigned to the main road. Anything with a motor, in my opinion, doesn't belong with pedestrians or bicycles. And finally, with the dog situation, Stanley said dogs can go anywhere people go. Is that correct? Service animals, is that correct?
I don't understand your question.
You said they can go anywhere that the owner goes. So does that mean the dog can swim in the water? I mean, this is not a joke. I'm asking you.
Well, if you pay attention, you hear me say that the dog is not allowed in the pool.
In the pool water or
in the water? In the water.
In the water. All right. The other thing is, I'd like you to document this leashless rule. I've never seen anything stated that a service animal must be kept off a leash. Everything I've always read is that the service animal should be under the control of the owner. And the best way to control the dog is to hold the leash in your hand. So please come back with something in writing.
My suggestion to you is put this in writing and give it to the site administrator.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. You got that motion to adjourn? You got their name because I'm going to hear it. Okay, thank you. Very good meeting, thank you. And thank the people who are not delegates